Here, just want to talk to you about alarms. Alarms in my phone are probably one of the best tools I have to manage my life. And I'm not saying it's easy, but they are an essential part of my coping strategies. So this is particularly useful for people who get very anxious about missing an appointment or being late for an appointment, or for people who feel anxious in the build-up to there being an appointment for whatever reason. And there are two parts to this. One is that where possible, I specifically ask for appointments to be first thing in the morning, and I would rather wait an extra couple of weeks for an appointment than have one in the afternoon, because I know that I will spend the morning worrying about missing that appointment, not just a little part of my morning, but the entire day. And to me, that is an unnecessary waste of my energy and my time. And there is no reason why you can't ask for a morning appointment. You deserve to be able to have appointment times that work for you and your needs. Secondly, it's this whole alarm setting thing, because a lot of people say, oh, you just need to set an alarm, as if it's that simple. And to some extent, yes, it is simple to set an alarm. And let's set aside the fact that sometimes we keep snoozing those alarms, or we turn them off and forget they've happened instantly because something distracts us. Setting that aside, I'm going to work from the assumption here that an alarm actually works, that it makes me get out and go somewhere on time. For me, the complexity of the alarm system is quite high. It's not just a simple case of setting an alarm that says, oh, you've got an appointment in 10 minutes or whatever. I have to set an alarm half an hour before when I need to leave the house. And this alarm says, you need to pack this, this and this, and you need to do whatever else you need to do. And so that gives me half an hour to actually get ready, which is enough time to get dressed if I've forgotten to get dressed because I've forgotten I've got an appointment. It gives me enough time to grab a banana if I'm starving because I've forgotten to eat. And it gives me enough time to pack my bag with, for example, the address of where I'm going, any important bits of paperwork that I need to take with me, my keys, my phone. Although actually, I only need keys if I'm driving somewhere because we have like a little pin code thing on our front door, which is amazing for people that forget their keys all the time. So that half hour is designed to help me prepare. I then have a second alarm, which is, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes from when I need to leave the house. And that is things like, you need to get your shoes on, or a coat, or a hat, or go for a wee. And then I have my final alarm, which is, now it's time to leave the house. And that one is 5 minutes before I actually have to leave the house. We have, I would say, a 2-minute walk to school on a fast day, like if you're rushing. A leisurely pace is probably 4 or 5 minutes walk. And I allow 15 minutes to get there in the morning. And there are a number of reasons for this. And that's because my children are very like me, where once it's time to leave the house, they'll suddenly remember they've forgotten something, like they've forgotten to put their watch on, which is absolutely essential, can't go without a watch because it just feels wrong. Or they've forgotten to grab their coat, or they've forgotten to do their teeth, or they need a wee. So first of all, there's that. There's the actual getting out and making sure we're fully ready. But then there's the distractions along the way, like the snails that need lifting out of the way so they don't get crushed, or the chickens that we go past that make a really cute clucking sound, or an interesting number plate that spells out a word. There are so many distractions on that 5-minute walk to school that it can take us 15 minutes, and this is awesome. Because when the kids were younger, our school was about 12 minutes walk for an adult. It used to take us 45 minutes to get to and from school if we were walking. And so for many years I would just drive, and people would be quite judgmental. Why don't you just walk to school? And I was like, well, because it takes an hour to get there from trying to leave the house. And, the neurotypical families, they couldn't understand why it would take us an hour. But I'm sure many of you listening to this video completely get it. So although alarms aren't the only answer, and for many people aren't even an answer. So for my husband, he snoozes them and then turns them off and forget that they've happened, and it doesn't happen anyway. But for me, they work really, really well. But it has to be this really complex, layered system of multiple alarms. And each alarm has to have a title that tells me exactly what's happening. Otherwise, I forget what that alarm is for. Remember when I was little, my mum used to say, well, just tie a knot in your handkerchief. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with that knot? What's it going to tell me? How's that going to remind me what to do? The other thing is that I use my hand to write things on. So quite often, for example, if I'm at the doctor's or the dentist's or the hairdresser's and I've got another appointment booked, they'll say, oh, would you like, they'll tell me when the appointment is, and I'll say, oh, have you got a pen? So I can write that down, and they say, oh, would you like a piece of card? And I'll be like, no, I don't want a piece of card, because that will go in my bag, and I will forget it's there, and I will lose it, and I won't come to my appointment. I would like to write it on my hand, and I always get a bit of a weird look. But honestly, that's the only way that works for me, because I see it repeatedly on my hand so many times throughout the day that at some point, I remember to write it on the calendar where it needs to be. Now, my calendar starts from Monday, so the other thing that I have to do is if there's anything important on the Monday, I always write it on the Sunday as well from the previous week, so that I know there's something important coming up immediately the next day, because otherwise that will not happen. I will forget and I won't prepare for it. So there's that I need to do as well. So that's just a few tips in terms of time management, some extra ones. I don't know whether any of these will work for you. I wanted to share them because I have found them really invaluable in managing my own life and the life of my small people and husband. So I hope that some of these can be incorporated into your life and can maybe help a little for you. Have a great day, everyone.